Hey guys, how you doing? We've got more resin to test today. Let me run my intro and I'll show you what I got right after this. Hey, and we're back. A company called YouSu, which is they sell on Amazon. I personally haven't heard of them before. Contacted me and wanted me to try out their resin. So I've got two 500-gram bottles here. Let's check them out, see what we got. I recently bought a second resin printer, so now I got the Elegoo Mars and I got the Phrozen Sonic Mighty 4K. Oh wow, that's pretty blue. That's a blue metal bottle. iForm 181, it says. 3D printing UV sensitive resin from YouSu. YOUSU. And they're both going to be identical here. This is their gray resin. Yep, two nice little bottles. Got a safety cap similar to what Sunlu had that were cracking all the time. Hopefully these won't. These appear to be fine. Let's see what we got here for a safety seal on them. Sometimes they have a plug inside and sometimes they don't. Okay, and these do. They have a safety plug that you pull out. You grab it with your finger, kind of slowly pry it out. Throw that part away and then you're done. Obviously put the lid back on. Let's check them out over on Amazon real quick. Let me load up their page. Okay, here they are over on Amazon. iForm LCD 3D printing resin, standard polymer for 405 nm, UV curing light. High resolution and reliable for most printers. 500 grams. The color is gray. iForm 181 from YouSu. And yeah, we're going to print up some goodies and see how it prints. But yeah, that's a great price. It's at $14.44 right now. Looks like it's normally $16.99 for a small bottle. And then the larger bottle is $24.64. And the current colors are gray, skin, and white. And I have two gray here today. I see here on the box where it's got their web address, .com address, where they're at on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I will post all that below in the description. So right after you're done watching this video, if you'd like to check them out on their .com address, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, it will be down below. Well, let me slice some models in Cheetah Box, and we'll get to printing. And here I've got the Beast by Sanix loaded up in Cheetah Box software. And it's going to be on my Sonic Mighty 4K. And as you can see, I got a lot of parts there. But I checked and nothing is touching. They're all got a nice little gap in between them. And all the supports and everything were pre-done by Sanix for this file. So let's go ahead and slice this, save it, and we'll see you in the next room. Cool, the print just got done. Let's check it out. Set that case out of the way. Alrighty then. I'll grab some gloves and my glasses. Yeah, I got these dark blue gloves here from Harbor Freight. They're out of the lighter blue ones that I wanted, and I don't really care for this type. But you can go back for some time and buy the light blue ones. I'm just about out. Each time I print something in resin, I go through a couple pairs. Oops, that's backwards. Alrighty then, grab the glasses. Yeah, I noticed this build plate on the Phrozen Sonic Mighty doesn't drain off as well as the Elegoo Mars, but it is tapered. The Elegoo Mars is tapered on 4 sides. This is only tapered on the front and the back. But it's just a little extra work, no big I'm in a hurry. Slide it off, lay it down. Use my Build-Tac spatula to get it off until I get a flex plate. This works really good. It's got a paper thin edge. I use this on all my FDM prints. And it works a lot better than the one supplied. Kind of get it started and slide them underneath them. A few little specks I can't get underneath to have a hack at it. Oh no. Looks like I had a failure. One thing that's driving me crazy about this new printer. YouSu Mars in a year I only had like 2 failures. And I think exposure time on Mars was like 8 seconds. And this one is 3 seconds. But my last print I kicked it up to 5 seconds and they were perfect. So, see what we got here. See, the feet look, no. I'm gonna say the feet look nice, but see, it's got a rip right there. So that's a dead print. That hand is good. The head looks good. Yeah, the head came out good. Let's see what we got here. Part of the base. Let's see. Yeah, the ring to the base came out good. I'll throw that in my Sonic cleaner. And yeah, I would look at it real good, but it appears that the rest of the base came out fine. Got to dig off all the little tiny supports they pull off real easy. I don't think I have a failure there. Comes with a third hand for whatever option you want. See, so that one came out. The other one came out. Yeah, this body's all tore up. Little slice marks in it. It's definitely all screwed up. It's kind of odd that's happening. I have to see what's in. Detail's nice until it's not. Alrighty, so the whole entire body's basically trashed. So definitely have to reprint it. Clean my hands up here and I'll check the vat, see what we got going on. Wipe off a little bit of excess resin. Of course I gotta clean my tools once I handle them, but take my spatula from YouSu Mars, let's see what we got. Yeah. A chunk of plastic right there. So I gotta take the vat off and clean it. Well, I've had more failures on this new printer than I have good prints. Now I wanted to test out this new resin on the YouSu Mars, but my touchscreen is screwed up all of a sudden, so I've got a hold of YouSu. I'm waiting to hear back to see if they can send me a replacement, if I can buy a replacement, whatever I got to do. I don't see them on Amazon. Yeah. Well, let me throw the garbage away, put these other ones in my ultrasonic cleaner with green bean, and then probably 5 to 6 minutes, and after that I'll rinse them thoroughly in alcohol, dry them out, and then I can cure them. And then in the meantime, let me clean the vat out and re-slice these parts that screwed up and get them reprinted. Hey, let's take a look and see what we got here. Yeah, everything looks like it printed okay. At the moment, let's take a look. Take my ZYLTECH spatula. Yeah, that came out real nice. It's part of the base here. Here's the bottom ring of the base. Yeah, the quality looks really good. Yeah, I'm not a scientist, and I don't know what's so special about 4K resin, how it's different, other than the price, but the resin by YouSu looks very nice. It seems to be printing just as good as my expensive resin. Quality looks good. Get these in my ultrasonic cleaner, clean up the build plate, and we'll move on. Here's my process. Once I take the parts out of my resin printer and take off all the supports, they'll go to my ultrasonic cleaner. What I use mean green in, I'll set it for like 5 or 6 minutes. I rinse the parts out real good. If they're hollowed out, of course, I run a bunch of the mean green through it, lift it up, let it drain out, douse it multiple times, and then I go to my little pickle jar here that I have IPA in. And of course, as I get bigger parts, I'll have to use a bigger tub and clean them with alcohol. But then I'll put everything here and I'll douse it and clean it very well. And then I'll rinse them off. Once I've went through the IPA completely and I've got everything off and they've been rinsed real well, then I take them to the sink and I rinse them off, usually. And then I shake them out, let them air dry. They sit here on a towel until they've air dried. And then I go into my little, one of my two curing stations there, the one that I made in the back, which has UV lights all the way around. It's chrome. That's not on a timer. Sometimes I forget about it and leave it in there too long. And then I got the one here that I reviewed from Sunliz that works really nice. I just throw them in there and cure them 5 or 6 minutes per side. And of course, if your statue is standing upright, you can't cure the undersides of it. So once the timer's done, then I will, and it shuts off automatically. I'll reposition the part, orient the part, and then I'll start the timer again. And that's kind of how I do it. But it appears that from my failed prints to this batch right here, the depth, the dent, let's see, in the slicer cheetah box, what was it called? The penetration depth on the supports where they touch the model, I increased that by 5. And then I'm not saying that that's the cure-all, but it worked this time and none of the parts came off the supports. So anyway. Alrighty, we're all done. Let's see how it came out. My other Popeye was a failure. And what I believe happened is, since I hauled the model, I had it at 115%. This one's back at 100. What I believe happened is, because I hauled it at 2 millimeters thick, it was too thin, and it was separating the wheel, and a bunch of parts were separating on the model, so I stopped the print halfway through yesterday. I'll show you a picture on the screen. So this time I went 5 millimeters thick. And the trouble I was having in the past on this printer was the model was pulling off the supports, and I was losing parts of the model. Even though it adhered to the build plate perfectly and bonded like steel, the supports were great. I got medium supports. The problem was the part was pulling off the supports. So I increased the penetration depth by 5. and we'll see how it came out. Looking pretty good. Let's throw some of those gloves on. Maybe go back by Harbor Freight and buy some of the light blue gloves. I don't like these dark blue ones, but at the time, this is all they had. So the gloves work great. I just prefer the ones that are real light in color. I don't really care for these. Put my glasses on for safety. A little bit of resin on the top up there. Let me scrape that off. Well, I did have some of the support, okay? Looks like part of that did pull off the supports right there, so I did have a little bit of damage. It's getting better. I don't know. Not really sure what's going on here. Let's see, I put the spatula in between there. It's 5 millimeters thick, medium supports. I don't know. But, and of course, that spatula's not going to get under. It's grabbing bill tack, the paper thin edge. Yeah, it's definitely adhering. Take my razor blade and scrape that off. Now, this resin appears to be printing just as nice as any other resin I've used. And I've tried probably, I don't know, 5, 6 different companies. Yeah, it looks like I just had a minor issue on these two right here. This one's a little thinner, but it's almost perfect. Hey guys, we're back. Thanks for sticking around this long. I appreciate it. The last couple days I've had some failures and I've had some good prints. Let me tell you about that. For the last 2 years probably on the Elegoo Mars, when I hollow out a model, anything that's fairly large, I don't want to waste a lot of resin, I can't afford to, so I hollow out the model. I've always went 2 millimeters thick. That's when I put in my drain holes. That's been perfectly fine. There's not much pull force on the FEP, none that I've been able to fill. And I use PTFE lube, which has always seemed to help in my opinion. But now that I have the Sonic Mighty 4K, it's a whole different ball game. Totally different. And what was happening, as you can see in these pictures here, all these layers are ripped apart. Because I went 2 millimeters thick, I believe it wasn't thick enough, and because of the pull force, it was separating the model. So I increased that to 5 millimeters, and it seems to have been fine, as you'll see in some of my prints here, and on my Popeye. And then the original problem that I had is the raft is adhering to the build plate just fine. It's very hard to get off. The medium supports are awesome. They work great, but I didn't have enough contact depth on the model. I'm looking at my screen here. It was set stock to 45. I increased that to 50, and now the parts are not pulling away from the supports, and that seemed to have solved the problem. And this YouSu Resin printed fine. It printed just as good as a 4K resin. I don't know what the difference is between the two resins other than one. Wow, it's 4K. Hey, let's buy it. I don't really know. I'm not a scientist. I don't know the makeup. I haven't researched it. But this iForm 181 from YouSu, it's printed really nice. I've had no issues with it. Let me show you some of the stuff I've got done here. Well, let's see here. Let me switch my screen over. And here's a beast by Sonic that I've done. Now, the quality on this is the YouSu Resin. Looks simply amazing. It is a beautiful. Now, of course, the head and the body and the waist, it's not glued together, so. And I'm going to prime it and paint this before I glue it together on most of it, what I need to. But yeah, the quality came out great. It looks simply amazing. Came out wonderful. You set them down here. And just, look at the detail on this. The detail came out simply amazing. Now, let me compare this to a part. One of my subscribers had mentioned, would I please do a comparison with Elegoo Mars? Well, here's some prints off the Mars as an example. Here's a Frankenstein. I don't remember what resin I used. You'd have to refer back to that video. But it might have been Sunlu resin. I'm not sure, but I think it was. And the quality looks amazing. The quality in the 4K looks amazing. They both look great. The main reason I got the Sonic Mighty 4K is the build volume for the increased build size. And hopefully the LCD will last quite a bit longer. But yeah, looks really good. And let's see, let's look at Popeye. Now Popeye, which I just showed you the pictures on the screen, that was at 115%. He was hollowed out, 2 millimeters thick. And as you can see, I had some damage. It kind of started pulling apart. So I set it to 5 millimeters. And like I said, my contact depth is at 0.50 instead of 0.45. And I had a minor problem right here. Right here and right here. As you've seen in the picture there, the supports are starting to pull off that I just showed you in the video, but they're starting to pull. But other than that, it came out great. Now this is at 5 millimeters thick. It's fairly heavy, but it has been hollowed. I put a drain hole in the bottom and one in the back of the head. So when I run it through my ultrasonic cleaner, I can clean out the resin on the inside really well. And then from there, I go to IPA and IPA bath, and I rinse it in IPA really good. And then once all that's all gone, then I take it over to the sink and I rinse everything out with water really good. I dry it out best that I can, and then I put it in my UV curing station. So, but yeah, it came out really nice. This is by Photosmint Popeye. There's a couple little tiny minor supports you can see in there that I need to take a razor knife and knock off, and a little bit of minor sanding here, some little dimples. But it's almost perfect. It's really, really nice. And then this statue here, I forget. I have to get his head on. I think it's Colossus. I think that's his name. This is by Sanix. And he came out amazing. Came out really good. There's drain holes in the head. And yeah, the quality here, it came out really nice. And the light gray resin is YouSu iForm 181. And then the darker gray is going to be the 4K resin on these prints here. But yeah, it came out really good. But I had so many failures, I burned through a lot of resin just on failures. And like I said, once I went to 5 millimeters thick and my contact depth is 5% higher than stock, that seems to have solved it. I'm not saying that's all that was wrong or that was the exact thing, but in my opinion, that seemed to have solved the problem. So, but yeah, that looks amazing. And we can come over here as a comparison. Okay, this is YouSu resin that we're doing the video on. And then here's a 4K resin that came with the Mighty 4K from Phrozen. And the quality looks fine. I don't see a difference whatsoever. It looks great. They both look great. One's a little bit darker, but both models look great. Now, I didn't do the same model twice. I didn't need two of the same model, so it's kind of hard to do an exact comparison. But they are two different models, and of course, they're both detailed differently. But, and then here's a base. Now, these are real close to being about the same. Okay, this one is done in 4K resin by Phrozen. And here's one done in the YouSu. So this is the YouSu right here, the lighter gray. And, you know, they both look great. So I got some minor little details here and there I've got to work out and get all figured out. But yeah, came out great. So it's just that, you know, with Elegoo Mars, I mean, I printed hundreds of resin prints over the last couple of years. And I had maybe 2 failures in all that time. And now I get the Sonic Mighty 4K, and I think it's going to be a breeze. And it's like, wow, it's like I'm blind, I got my eyes closed. It's totally different. I need to get a flex plate and put on that, definitely, because as you see in the video, I'm using my ZYLTECH spatula for like I use my FDM printers on some of them. It's got a paper thin edge, and it's still hard to get underneath a lot of those supports. They're definitely adhering very well to that build plate, and there's no problem whatsoever there with them adhering, so I'm not having any kind of a problem there. It's just contact depth. But, you know, there's Facebook groups for Phrozen, and there's YouTube videos. There's many places that you can research and learn information and print out documentation on recommendations that other people have already done or that the company recommends. So, but yeah, as you've seen for the price, I think this YouSu Resin is a great price. And like the Sunlu resin, which also prints really nice. The Elegoo prints nice. I haven't used Elegoo in a while. I mean, I've tried 4 or 5 different resins. I've tried ZYLTECH resin. What else have I tried? Cyratech is very good resin. But, you know, but for the price, this is great. It prints just as good as a lot of other companies out there, and I do highly recommend it. So you check it out on Amazon. I mean, maybe they'll have sales. But, yeah, get a big bottle, get 2 little bottles. The problem I had with the Sunlu for a while, their caps were cracking. But then they have that seal underneath. I'm not sure if I put this one back in. Yeah. This one you can just put the rubber seal back in and you put the cap on. So if you happen to get a bottle and the cap is cracked, just put that plug back in each time you go to use it. And then, you know, you shake it up before you dump it in. Now, with the Sunlu, you see in the prior video, I threw away that plastic insert. Then when I put the cap on, I wound up putting a glove over it. I'm trying to shake it up, and it leaked around the glove. And, yeah, I should have just put that rubber cap back in, and that would have solved that. But, yeah, the prints came out great. And here's here's another part of one of my models here. From Sonics. Yeah, it came out great. Detail looks very nice. So I really appreciate everybody watching. Please like, subscribe, share the video, and ring that bell if you want to be notified the next time I go live or I do a video. If you'd like some really cool discounts, like from ZYLTECH, for instance, here in the U.S., if you enter 3DHP at checkout, you get 15% off your whole order, except for special filament packs. There's a link to TH3D Studios where you get 5% off your whole order by entering the code that changes monthly that I post. And there's so many other ways you can help the channel. I mean, discounts you can get. There's an Amazon link. You know, you can go to 3dhp.net. That's a little web page that I was working on. I'm on. Then you can find me on Facebook, my Facebook group, 3D Printing and Painting, 3DHP. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I haven't posted there in a little bit, but I'm on Instagram. And, you know, yeah, I try to make interesting content and keep everybody entertained. If you have, please like the video. I'd really appreciate it. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments below. If there's something you'd like to see in an upcoming video, let me know, and I'll see if I can make it happen. But thank you very much, everybody, and happy printing.